Hi everyone, welcome to our channel Code with Sunny, and today I am going to discuss the problem is code of parenthesis of Leetcode and index number is 856 and the problem is of medium type. Okay, so let's jump directly into the problem statement. So we have been given a balanced parenthesis string S, and it has some value, and the value is computed according to the base score values. That is, as you can see, the 3 points. This will decide how the what will be the value of the given balanced parenthesis string. So we have to return the value, that is the score of the given parenthesis string according to the base values that is given here. Okay, so how we are going to approach this problem and how what will be our approach, let's discuss this. Okay, so let's first discuss what is actually given in this question. So basically we have been given a balanced parenthesis string and we have to find the value of the given string. What to On what criteria we are going to find these values? We have been given the base score values, and with the help of this I am going to find what will be the score of this given string. Okay, so these, suppose we have found the bracket of this type, we are going to return 1, that is denoting that this substring has the value equal to 1, and similarly of this type it has a value equal to twice of a. Similarly of this type it has a value equal to a plus b. Note that if you are not getting how these values are going to come, you need not to worry about, because I am going to explain how these values are going to modify, how these values are going to be adjusted such that we are going to compute the score of the given strings. Okay, so let's discuss the example first. Okay, so let's say we have a string of what, this type as given in this here, as you can see here. Now this string is of type equal to its base, that is you can see here. So it has a value equal to what, 1, and this would be our what, answer. So this is a very pretty much simple string. So let's move on to our next string. Suppose we have a string of this type. Now let us move on how we can find this. Now let's separate the end brackets, that is you can see the opening parenthesis in the start of the string and the end of the string you can see a closing parenthesis. If we separate these two parentheses, we have a, in the middle we have a what, opening as well as closing parenthesis, which has a type equal to exactly this type. So this has a value 1, so I'm going to replace this with a value equal to 1. Now you can see our current string becomes of this type. Now you can see this string is of type what, type 2. Now you can see here, and this has a value equal to twice of a. Okay, so if this has a value twice of a, so here a is equal to 1, so I'm going to write it as 2 into 1. So our answer would be what, this one. Okay, so in this case our score of the string is what, 2. And let's move on to my next example. Okay, suppose we have a string of this type. Okay, let me write. Now if you can see, if we can pop out the substring of length 2 starting from the index 0, you can see this is a string of base type exactly equal to this one. So I'm going to write the string as what, 1. And similarly if you can look upon the substring of starting from index equal to what, 2, and of length equal to 2, and if we consider a zero based indexing, then here we will have a base string of score equal to 1, so I'm going to write 1 here. Okay, now this 1 1 pattern has exactly equal to of this type, this base score value, so I'm going to add up this. Okay, so the question claims that we have to add up this, that is it is going to be what, 2. So what, 2 is our answer in this case. I hope you are getting how these answers are going to be calculated. And similarly if we look up at this string, suppose I am going to remove the extreme parenthesis, that is closing, opening and closing, then I will have what, this one, the opening and closing, and now we have a 1, as you can see. Now we have a what, this type of parenthesis. If we consider this as a base parenthesis, because this is of type base, so it has a score equal to 1. Now we have a this parenthesis. Now let us move further. Now we have a what, let me write, we have a value equal to 1, and you can see there is another base parenthesis of score 1. You can assign this value as 1. Now our string would become like this. Now we can move further, like we have a value equal to 1 here, And now you can see this string, you can see I'm going to highlight this string is of type what, this one. So I'm going to make the value equal to twice. So what I am going to do is I am going to write 2 into 1, that is 2. Now you can see I have a string, that is, you can see, let's focus on this 1 2. This 1 2 is of type equal to base type equal to 3. I am going to add up these two values, that is our string would become what, and opening and closing bracket, then I have a value equal to 3. Let me put a, okay. Now you have a string of this type. Now if you look at this example base type, then I am going to make its value equal to twice. So I have the answer equal to 6. So this is our answer, okay, denoting the score of the string. Okay, now let's move on to discuss the approach. Note that my first approach is taking the time equal to O of n, because every character should be processed one time, and similarly the space complexity would be O of 1. There is no need of extra space. And my approach 2 would be what is of time complexity O of n, because in this case also we are going to process each character one time. And similarly we have a space complexity of what, I think I have written something wrong. The space complexity of O of n due to stack. Okay. Now let's discuss the approach 1. Then I am going to explain why this approach 1 is working. Note that this approach is completely observation. Now this approach is best, but I recommend my users, or you can say my viewers, to go for the approach second, because this makes us to understand the question much clear. This is complete observation. So what I am going to do in my first approach is, whenever we will find a opening bracket, I am going to increment my iterator, that is, let's say it has a variable name equal to curr by 1, and if we find a closing parenthesis, I am going to decrement it by 1. And now at any instant, whenever we find a closing parenthesis and its previous character is also a closing parenthesis, then I am going to add the value 2 power current to our answer. Okay, so in this case we have a time complexity of O of n, and we have a space complexity of O of 1. Now why this approach is going to work, so let's discuss this with the help of this example. So let me cut off this string and work on this approach. Okay, so let us check if this is going to work uh, completely fine or not. Okay, so initially I have a current variable as what, 1, because we have a what, opening parenthesis, and again we have a value equal to 2, because again we have opening parenthesis. Now we have a value equal to what, closing parenthesis. So I am going to decrement my variable 1. So our answer would become what here, 2 power, let's say 1. So our answer will become 2. Now we can see we have a current variable equal to what, 2, because we have an opening parenthesis. I have to increment my value. Again we have an opening parenthesis, I am going to increment my value. Now you can see we have a closing parenthesis. Yes, we have a closing parenthesis. So what I am going to do is I am going to decrement my variable, that is, it would become 2. Now our answer would become what, answer plus 2 power current variable, that is, you can see 2 power cu order, that would become 2 plus what, 2 power 2, that would become what, 6. Now you can see we have a closing parenthesis, so it would become 1. Note that we have found the closing parenthesis, but here you can see the previous character is not a opening parenthesis, so I am not going to add this 2 power curr to our answer. Again we have a closing parenthesis, and its previous character is not a opening parenthesis, so I am not going to increment my answer. So you can see we have answer equal to 6. This is the score of the string, and it is exactly equal to the what we have found here, 6. Now this observation, this pretty much approach is also working with this one. You can see 2 power 0 1, and you can see here also 2 power what, 1 equal to 2. Now this observation is pretty much fine, and if you can catch up this observation, then it is what, extraordinary for you. And otherwise we have a second approach too, and what we are going to do in my second approach, it is completely a brute force approach with the help of stack. Now we are going to maintain a stack to store the parenthesis. Whenever we encounter the opening parenthesis, we are going to push that into the stack, and whenever we encounter a closing parenthesis, then we have a two operations, that if stack top is going to be what, this closing, or you can say this opening one, I am going to push one into the stack. Otherwise I am going to add all the values of the stack till we encounter the parenthesis. If you are not getting this, no need to worry, but I am going to explain my approach too with the help of the example for your what we can say, we for your pretty much observation and for your better understanding. Okay, now our answer will be the sum of the values of this stack. Okay, in this case we have a time complexity of O of n because we are going to process the character each time one times. Okay, and we have a O of n due to stack. So let's take example, the pretty much same example here, and how we are going to process use with the help of our second approach. Let's understand this also. Okay, now we have this string, let me denote it as here string. Now let's say we have a stack is of empty. Now let's say we have a opening parenthesis, so let's say we have a stack of this is going to denote the stack. Now you can say we have again we have a opening parenthesis, I am going to denote here, so this is also my stack. Now you can see we have a closing parenthesis. Okay, so whenever we encounter a closing parenthesis, here you can see what I am going to do is I am going to pop out till we encounter the opening parenthesis. Okay, and if stack top is again a what opening parenthesis, I am going to push one into the stack. Note that the stack top is the one, or you can say stack top is a what opening parenthesis. I am going to pop this element out, so our stack could become this one. This is our stack, but you can see I have encountered opening parenthesis, so I am going to push one into the stack again. Okay, now this is our stack, and again if you can see, if we, again we have found a what opening parenthesis, then what we are going to do, we have a one here, then I am going to push one. Now note that I am going to write here pretty much a statement for the clearance. We have encountered and closing parenthesis. Okay, and so stack top is what opening parenthesis, so I have to push one, and this is our stack because I have encountered a opening parenthesis. Again we have one, this is my stack. Okay, now you can see we have again a closing parenthesis, and if we have a closing parenthesis, we have to what push one, and we have to pop the opening parenthesis, so our become, it would become like this, you can see one, this is our stack. Now we have you can say we have encountered the closing parenthesis here also, that's why I'm going to do this. Now you can see we have again found a what closing parenthesis. Okay, so let me see this. Now yes, we have again found the closing parenthesis. So what I am going to do is I am going to add all the values till that opening parenthesis, and I am going to increment, that is I am going to multiply it, or add all the values of till encounter, and let me write a push current into 2, or you can say into stack. Here you can see current is our sum. Okay, now you can see our sum is going to be 1 till we encounter opening parenthesis. So our I am going to do is I have a stack of this one, and I am going to pop this one, and I am going to again push the value 1 into 2, that is it would become like 2. Our stack in state would be what, this one. Okay, now you can see we have again a closing parenthesis. I am going to add all the elements till we encounter opening parenthesis. Okay, so let me copy this and let me do this. Okay, now again we have found a closing parenthesis which would be the last element of the string. So I am going to add all these values till we encounter a closing parenthesis. All these values sum up to 3. Then note that these values sum up to 3, I am going to push that into again twice the value, that is 6. So I am going to push 6 here, and this is our stack. Okay, finally. Okay, now one thing you can see, I am going to add all the values of the stack, and this would be our what answer. Okay, so 6 is our answer. As you can see here, this is basically the implementation part where you can see I am going to use these two base functions whenever we encounter a closing parenthesis. Just as previous, I am going to use one, and whenever we encounter this type, I am going to increment it by 2, and between these I am going to add all the values. That is what I am going to do here in my approach to. I am going to push current into 2 in my stack. Current is the sum till we encounter a opening parenthesis. Okay, so let's move on to the code. Okay, so basically this is my approach one. This is completely an observation approach. Okay, you can see I have a iterator that is initialized with 0. I have an answer variable. I'm going to iterate in my string, and if we encounter opening parenthesis, I'm going to increment my iterator, otherwise I'm going to decrement my iterator. And whenever we have found a closing parenthesis and its previous character is also opening parenthesis, I'm going to increment my answer with the value equal to 2 power current. You can see I have used a left shift operator, which is equivalent to using the power function in HTL, as you can say. Now if all this processing has been done, I am going to return my answer. Okay, so this is basically our first approach. Yes, you can see I have a faster 100% faster solution. Let me discuss my second approach. Okay, now in this approach, I have what n equal to strings length, and I have maintained a stack. Note that I have, whenever we encountered a what opening parenthesis, I have pushed 0 into the stack. 0 is going to denote we have a opening parenthesis. I have a stack of integers. Okay, I'm going to continue, then no need to process the stack further. And if we encounter a closing parenthesis, I'm going to maintain a current variable which is going to denote the sum, and I am going to take the sum until we encounter a what opening parenthesis. Note that opening parenthesis is going to be denoted by 0 here. Okay, and I am going to sum up all the values till stack is not empty and stack top is not 0. That is till we haven't encountered the opening parenthesis. I have summed up all this, and if current is 0, it means we haven't entered into this while loop. It means we have encountered the opening parenthesis just before this current character, so I'm going to push 1, otherwise I'm going to push twice the value that we have obtained. Okay, now finally our answer will be what, sum of all the values of the stack. Okay, so I'm going to return the answer. So this should give us the, yes, bits are also fine. Now if you have any doubts, do not forget to mention in the comment section of the video, and the link to the code is mentioned in the description section of the video. And I will ask the viewers to like this video, share this video, and do subscribe to my YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you for watching this video.